feel grief so great that it doesn't feel clear how life's going to go on? Hey there, Daniel Hartman, Sackville, New Brunswick. Had a conversation earlier today that really got the wheels to start turning and thinking about grief and how we have so few cultural teachings in North America that really allow us to recognize grief is really unreconciled transition, and how to have a ceremony, how to have customs, even how to have a daily commemoration in terms of even a simple thing like not being invited to a party or not having an experience that seems like someone else, gets a great job and is making all these gains and getting good grades. And if we're comparing ourselves to others, even things like that, it takes a little bit of time to commemorate and recognize the contrast in our lives that can really hold us back unless we have a way of distilling it down and learning a lesson. And a lot of times we do look at grief around death or major illnesses and things of nature, like the end of a lifetime career. Yet, there's something to be said for really taking the time to have others walk with us on that path and to touch back to times when they were feeling that storm cloud over their head. There's a talk I really love about empathy. There's a Brene Brown, it's an animated video that's easy to find on YouTube. It's a great resource in terms of really looking at what empathy really is, why some people feel genuine and sincere and they've taken the time to really put the brakes on and be there with us instead of someone saying the word, but they're essentially hollow. And in my life, I've met so many people who have really helped me see the value in offering condolences, even if there's something that I feel that wouldn't be upsetting to me personally, validating that if it's upsetting for someone else, it's worth condoling. In terms of condolence really being a recognition that anytime we experience a feeling of a loss, that it's a genuinely valuable experience to have. And that being said, there's so many things, if we're providing a better experience for children than we had growing up, even things like grieving that childhood that we never had and really looking at what that meant as far as, oh, wow, there's someone taking the time to play this game with me or inspired me to get good grades or go on with my education or be an entrepreneur, my life would be completely different. So grieving that there weren't certain people that come in at certain times, and some of the edge of that we can take off by being the adult we wished we had there for us. And in the case of a death, sometimes it's taking the lesson of what this person brought into our lives and having that show us what we really want to provide for others. And there's another part as well where we're also going to grieve in the future when, whether it's a certain holiday or a birthday or an anniversary or some of those milestones we really work towards in terms of getting to a certain point in our careers and our work and our volunteering, as parents or leaders or whatever roles we take on, if there's a seed that's planted, or there's something, even if our parents never thought we would amount to much, so to speak, that having those people there in our lives when we do reach those milestones is really, it's like it's a part of our blueprint in our DNA to have key figures from our lives witness those pivotal events. And when someone does die, it's not just, having that ceremony and wrapping things up and bringing a little closure and being done with it, but the grieving process is a continual thing that, in my own experience, and a lot of people I know who really champion having a little commemoration every day, the grieving process gets to become really fluid. And dare I say, it becomes easy in terms of shedding some tears and feeling a certain movement in our bodies and giving some physical comfort, whether it's, just having a blanket on our shoulders, or even if we're hanging out, we can just, just depending on how we place our hands on our bodies, can provide a lot of physical comfort. And that's almost like having that outside person come in and give a good pat on the shoulder, where taking the time to really be nurturing to ourselves, and even putting those key people in our mind's eye, so it's as if they're there with us in all those big events. And all these subconscious things, we can make them more conscious by taking the time to creatively visualize people that we miss and have them in our minds, and take the time to really distill down the essence of the truth they brought in, and recognizing that when we carry out the things that they passed along to us, that they've never really died, and recognizing the more we share our own unique truth with others, that also takes the edge off our own death. And all these things are stacked in terms of the more we feel at peace with the transformation of our own physical bodies in the future, and at peace with our own death, essentially, the more we'll be at peace with the transitioning of others we've come to love really deeply. And in Western culture, there's usually someone coming in like, oh, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. Yet, to say it's a necessary thing. And without death, life wouldn't be so precious and beautiful. Not to say to put a silver lining around that storm cloud, but creating more of a yes and. Yes, there's death, and when we turn this corner, when we go back out into the world again, it might set us on a path to look at things with a lot more depth and make a lot more of every future moment, which isn't that really a beautiful thing. Hopefully there's been some good insight in this video. Love to hear any comments. Please post them below. Please like and subscribe if any of this has touched you, and you can also hit a little bell down below. It'll give you notifications when there's new videos. Matt, all the best on your journey, and it's all upwards from here.